Aloha and welcome to Action Island. I am Gilles Gallant. I am joined by Nick Giffen, Sean Koerner, and Grant Neiffer. And we're here to kick off week 14 in the NFL. And we got a pretty decent one on tap. The Dallas Cowboys are taking on the Detroit Lions for Thursday night football and a really high total of 54 and a half. Apparently the fifth highest total for a Thursday night football game ever. So we're going to try to build a four-leg parlay and something that we could sweat for this matchup. So here's what we do. The four of us, we're going to give our two favorite bets for tonight's game. Then we're going to take a vote on those picks. We'll decide which parlay leg is going to stay as part of the SGP or which one is going to be kicked off the island. By the end of the show, we should have a four legs SGP with a pick from each of us. So let's see how it plays out. And also, as we give out these bets, again, if you just want to tail one of the bets and not do the parlay, you could. We're dropping links in the YouTube chat, so you could click that link. It'll take you directly to the sports book, and you can get the best lines and the best odds because some of these lines and odds will move likely as we go. So, Grant, you're back with us. You're gonna start for us here, and you've got two props. What are you looking at?
First one, I'm going George Pickens over, I think the line's at 81 and a half. You can find it at receiving yards. George Pickens has just been unreal so far this year. And lately, he's just been incredible. Has not had less than 78 yards receiving in any of the last 7 games. He's going up against the Lions, which they run man at a high rate, and he's crushed man so far this season. The total is absolutely massive here, as you just mentioned, 54 and a half. We've seen so many times over the years, games over in Detroit have just massive back and forth. We saw with the Giants 2 weeks ago, which not many people were expecting. So Pickens, I think he's going to be in for a big game. It obviously could be a Lamb game, but Pickens just consistently every single week, 9+ targets. And I think he's going to get absolutely peppered in this spot here. Next one, I'm going with an under. I'm going David Montgomery under 36 and a half rushing yards. Now, his snap rate has been around 35-40% for the last several weeks. Gibbs has clearly taken over the number one running back in this offense, the real workhorse. So Montgomery is just kind of not getting the volume. 8, 5, and 6 rush attempts over the last 3 games. Dallas's rush defense has been terrible this year, but since the trades they made at the deadline has been quite a bit better. So it's still right around an average rush D, maybe slightly below average, but Montgomery's just not going to get the volume, I don't think, in this spot, especially with the 3-point spread, potential high scoring game, the Lions potential to get down early if the Cowboys go up on the board. So everything's kind of pointing towards his under here. And 36.5 is too high. I would hit it all the way down to 33.5.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting too with Pickens and the Lamb dynamic because I think we were betting Pickens touchdowns all the time when Lamb was out, and then since he's come back, there was some trepidation of whether or not he would get that kind of target share, and it's actually been very consistent. He's been still getting a lot of targets in this offense, even with CeeDee Lamb, and then David Montgomery, as you just pointed out, a little game script dependent, especially with how Jahmyr Gibbs has emerged in this offense. So, Nick, Sean,
As someone who has been
yeah.
betting Pickens every single week, it's also, he may only have 2 in the last 6, 7 games, but he could just as easily have 4 or 5. I mean, he's been tackled at the 1 yard line a few
Yeah.
times. He's been stopped as he was breaking away at the 2 yard line. So
Yeah.
one of those, I mean, it makes me think of Julio Jones. What was it, back like 8 years ago, just getting stopped on the 1 yard line over and over again. That's kind of how I feel, but that may just be in my head.
That's all right. I'll go with the he's due vibes. That's okay. All right. So, Sean, Nick, we got to take a vote here. Are we going to take George Pickens to have 81 or more receiving yards, or are we going to fade David Montgomery and take under 36 and a half rushing yards? So let's take a vote. All right, Grant, I'm big on Pickens in this game too. I'm going with you on Pickens. Am I getting outvoted? What are we doing? Double Monty. All right. All right. Double Monty it is. All right. David Montgomery,
Full
under
Monty.
36. Yeah, well, full Monty. Yeah, I don't want to be too graphic on this YouTube channel here, but David Montgomery, under 36 and a half rushing yards, is going to be the first leg of this same game parlay for Thursday night football. And of course, if you want to tail either of those bets from Grant, links have just been dropped in the YouTube chat, so you can tail the Pickens yardage one or fade the David Montgomery one. All right, let's now move to Sean. And I've seen you log a few bets in the Action app for this game already, Koerner. But which way are we going here? Are we going with some of those bets that we have in the app, or are we going with anything maybe a little new here?
No, as much as I would love to have a tackle prop, I don't think I could do that here
Yeah.
because it moves pretty quick. Not every site has them. So I'm going with my game preview pick here, the under 54 and a half. You can see my full write-up up at actionnetwork.com right now. This is a luck under. Possibly Nick will touch on that on one of his legs coming up. But, the Lions offensive line has really struggled the past few weeks. And four of them are questionable tonight. So, I mean, if one or two of them ends up getting ruled out, that's going to be massive as well. Amon-Ra, he's still questionable, but he didn't practice at all this week. I'm guessing he's closer to doubtful, so they could be without him, which would be massive. Sam Laporta is still on IR. Even his backup, Brock Wright's out. So the Lions offense has a ton of issues. And the Cowboys defense has been much better since they brought in Quinn Williams before the trade deadline. So I still expect a ton of points in this game, but still, this is a very, very high total, especially for Thursday night. But my favorite angle is this game will be officiated by Sean Hockley. He has been the most profitable ref towards the under since 2021, with the under going 46 and 28, 61% towards the under. And I always love to dive in as to why when it comes to these ref stats. And his crew tends to call false starts and offensive holding at a pretty high rate year in, year out. So it seems pretty sticky. And the Cowboys have been prone to false starts. They rank fourth in false start rate on the season, and they're on the road here. So we could see, a handful of drives where they have a false start or even a holding call, and those are obviously massive when it comes to slowing down an offense. So it doesn't take much to kind of slow the game down enough to stay under a total this high. So yeah, I'm gonna wait and see if this gets to 55, 55 and a half, but still like it here under 54 and a half. And next up, I mean, I've been waiting for this day ever since week one, but Isaac Tisla over 37 and a half receiving yards. Already took it at 36 and a half. Obviously, I still love it here at 37 and a half, but he's a third round rookie. I was high on heading into the season, but he opened up the year as like the fourth, fifth target in this offense. I mean, they have so many superstars with Amon-Ra, JMO, Gibbs, and he was backing up Khalif Raymond to start the season. So it's not too surprising he only has 11 targets on the season, but 11 of those turned into 6 catches, 3 touchdowns, and 4 to 5 of those catches have been highlight reel worthy. I mean, this guy is really good. He had the second highest athleticism score of this year's class. He's, an athletic freak. And I called him Dollar Store Puka Nakua. He actually emulates his game after Puka Nakua, and you can kind of see it when he's out there. But I think his problem has just been he hasn't been high enough on the target pecking order to see many targets, because Jared Goff, he likes to get rid of it quick. So I think tonight could be the first chance. He's going to be a top 2, top 3 target if Amon-Ra's out, Brock Wright's out as well. So this is probably the best spot all year for Tisla to really show up and ball out. So love is over 37 and a half receiving yards here.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting choice for us from a voting standpoint because Evan Abrams, our director of research here at Action Network, he just published and posted about how this was the fifth highest total for a Thursday night football game, and all the previous five, they all went under and way under too. So, and then of course, Isaac Tisla, this is the guy that like, what a full circle moment. 14 weeks ago, I'm like, who is this guy? And then you're like, here we are, wide receiver 2 now in this offense. So, all right. So that means Grant, Nick, we got to take a vote here. We got to take a option of a luck under 54 and a half, or we're going to take Sean's guy, Isaac Tisla, over 37 and a half receiving yards. So let's take a vote. All right, I'm probably gonna get crushed for this because normally I'm a luck rankings guy, but I went with Tesla. I'm not gonna. Elon Musk is what I voted for. Luck under Tesla. Okay, all right. So We are taking the Tesla as the second leg of the same game parlay. So over 37 and a half receiving yards for Isaac Tesla. We're going to pair that with David Montgomery under 36 and a half rushing yards. And Nick, we're going to get to your picks in a sec. I just want to remind everybody, if you still want access to Action Pro projections, make sure to sign up for an annual subscription to Action Pro. Access includes exclusive player prop picks from Sean Koerner, Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, all the members of the Action Analytics team, along with some awesome player prop projections, anytime touchdown projections. To sign up, visit actionnetwork.com/pro today. Use code Island20 at sign up. One more time, that's Island20 at sign up, and you can get $20 off. All right, Nick, you're up, man. And I kind of feel bad. I feel like Sean stepped on your toes taking the luck total here from you, but I'm sure you still have two pretty good picks here. So I'm seeing a player prop and a total here. So what do we got?
Yeah, we'll start with the player prop. I'm going to take Cavante Turpin for the Dallas Cowboys to go over 1.5 receptions. And I'm going to start with a big negative here. He has had a terrible catch rate in the 6 games since he returned from injury. He's had 8 catches on 15 targets. That's just barely above 50%. But catch rate is super noisy, especially in the short term. And we always expect a regression towards the longer term average. And with these 15 targets, the air yards on these has been just 2.3 yards. So we'd expect the catch rate in the 70+% range, almost 80% range. And he's been, like I said, just about 50%. Targets to him have had a negative 26% completion rate over expectation, just showing how much room for positive regression there is here. So I think the market's already down just because of that. And I really like the matchup for him here. He's going to get the plurality of his snaps opposite the Detroit Lions defensive back, I should say cornerback, Amik Robertson, who he'll line up out wide in 2 wide receiver sets. But when Turpin or some of the other Dallas tertiary receiving options comes onto the field, he'll move into the slot on 3 wide receiver sets, and Rocky Sin will line up outside as the other outside cornerback. Turpin's going to line up in the slot 2/3 of the time, and so he's going to get a lot of Amik Robertson. And Robertson has been, for lack of a better term, horrendous for Detroit, allowing the most touchdowns, 5 this year, of all Detroit cornerbacks, and the highest target per route run rate. And another key factor here is the return of DJ Reed. He returned for the Lions 2 games ago. He's been injured most of the second half of the season. But in the 2 games since DJ Reed's return, Amik Robertson has allowed 22 targets in the 2 games to just 8 for Reed and 14 receptions to Reed's 5 allowed. So if, Cavante Turpin's going to be going up against this just target machine, I really like him to get peppered with some volume here. And Turpin's target rate goes up versus man coverage. His target rate goes up versus single high coverage, both of which the Lions play at a top 3 rate. I'm projecting a little more than 1.8 receptions for Cavante Turpin. So I have him pretty strongly favored to go over 1.5 receptions.
My favorite part of your analysis is when you started off with, let me get the bad news out of the way first. And then you say that, and then you explain how there's a very high upside for Turpin. Before we get to the next pick, I just want to ask you quickly, Nick, what do you think of the idea of Cavante Turpin for an anytime touchdown around 6-1?
Yeah, I think I saw a plus 650 earlier. I don't know if that's still out there, but I don't mind it. What I really want to see, though, is maybe a live betting spot on this. I really want to see what DJ Reed is going to do. If he's going to shadow George Pickens, then I really like a Cavante Turpin anytime touchdown look live, possibly. But if DJ Reed doesn't end up shadowing Pickens, if he just kind of plays whoever is on the outside, whether it's Pickens or Lamb, that elevates both Pickens and Lamb because they're only getting DJ Reed a portion of the time. But if he's shadowing George Pickens, then I do like a Cavante Turpin, maybe live bet on an anytime touchdown.
And shameless plug, bet what happens live halftime tonight for Thursday Night Football. There could be potential for a Cavante Turpin touchdown. All right, let's get to the next pick. What do you like?
For the next pick, it relates to Sean's under, and I'm just going to go with the Lions team total under 28.5 points. Of course, this is a luck under, and luck unders are 9-0 since, or I should say luck totals in all are 9-0 since week 9, which, if you've been reading my luck rankings articles throughout the season, week 9 was always the inflection point based off historic years as well. So it's been right there this year as well. And the Lions have the 4th lowest luck team total of the week. Dallas, they've been an average defense over their last 3 games since the trade deadline, right? Since a couple players returned from injury, since they had their bye, all that happened at the same time. And League average doesn't sound great, but they were near the bottom prior to that. They were horrendous. So this is a big improvement for the Dallas defense. And Dallas is going to play a ton of zone here. I know they've sprinkled in a few games of man coverage, but prior to last week, the 2 weeks before that, they played a bunch of zone coverage. I expect them to do that again against Jared Goff, who has far worse splits against zone coverage than he does against man coverage. So I expect Dallas to revert back to what they've done most of the year and play a lot of zone coverage. And of course, the Lions are just down so many weapons, as we talked about. Likely no Amon-Ra St. Brown, Sam Laporta's out. Even some of their secondary options at tight end or wide receiver like Brock Wright, Khalif Raymond are out, and 4 of their 5 offensive linemen are questionable with injuries. And I do worry a little bit for the full under. I do like the luck under, and I do like the under. I side with the under. I have this under. But the big question here for me on the Dallas offense side is Dak has been really good versus man coverage, and the Lions play a lot of man. So I just want to stick with the Lions half of this and take the Lions team total under 28.5.
Yeah, they're just missing so many weapons too. And did you look at the splits too with Jared Goff this year when they seized pressure? Because right now the Cowboys, number one in pressure rate. We'll see if that remains, but his completion percentage just drops off a cliff. So that would be very good for that under 28.5. But either way, let's take a vote. So Sean Grant, we got to take a vote. Are we going to fade the Lions team total under 28.5? Or are we going to take Vontae Turpin to get more involved in this offense and have at least 2 catches? So let's take a vote. All right. I mean, I love Turpin. I'm a Cowboys fan, but I'm gonna go with the Lions team total under 28.5. Lions. All right. Well, consensus. All right, good. No more arguing. All right. So that's going to be the third bet. So we're going to take, all right. So let's recap though. We're taking the under on David Montgomery's rushing yard prop. We're going to take the over on Isaac Tislaw's receiving yard prop, but we're going to fade the Lions offense as a whole and take under 28.5 total points. All right, so I've got 2 picks, and one of them is going to be a touchdown bet. I mean, I'm surprised that we have a total of 54.5, and neither of us have had a touchdown bet yet given out. But let's start on the Cowboys side. I'm going to go with George Pickens. I'm going to basically piggyback off of what Grant was talking about, just how this is a prime matchup for him. The Lions, we've talked so much about how much they play man coverage and single high safety. They're both at a top 3 rate, and he's led the Cowboys in yards per route run, targets per route run versus man coverage. 17 end zone targets this year. So I just think even with DJ Reed back, the ability just for him to beat man coverage one-on-one in a potential shootout. So I just can't pass on him this week. On the Lions side, though, I'm not going to take a touchdown prop. I'm going to take Jared Goff to throw in interceptions around plus 135 at either DraftKings or FanDuel. So he's got 5 picks this year. And he tends to, I know he's playing at home, but he tends to see a decline when the opposing defense can get pressure. His completion percentage, as I said, just drops off a cliff. 5 of his 7 turnover-worthy plays this season are against pressure compared to a clean pocket. And the Cowboys, I know they play a lot of zone, but they're number 1 in pressure rate per drop back. All those guys are missing. I think it's going to be difficult for him to find those easy targets. So I had thought that this was going to be closer to a coin flip. But so right now I'm seeing around plus 135 for that. So that's the second bet that I like. So guys, we got to take a vote. Are we going to fade the Lions even more with a Jared Goff interception, or are we going to take George Pickens to score an anytime touchdown? So let's take a vote. All right, are we going to get a touchdown prop on here, or are we going to take an interception prop? What do we see? Goff, INT, Goff. All right, Grant, I knew you were probably going to vote Pickens. You and I have had many discussions about Pickens at this point, how we feel for him in this game. But Jared Goff interception is going to be the final leg of this same game parlay. So let's recap. We are taking David Montgomery under 36.5 rushing yards. We're taking Isaac Tislaw over 37.5 receiving yards. Lions team total under 28.5 with a Jared Goff interception. I'm seeing right now that's 10-1 at DraftKings, plus 1050 at Bet365. Kind of impressive that we got to at least 10-1 without even including a touchdown prop at this stage. Nick, I'll come to you. What do you think of this parlay here? How we're correlating, how we're feeling? How do you feel about this game script based on the bets that we have here?
Yeah, I mean, it's a perfectly correlated parlay, right? If the Lions aren't scoring, then it's likely that the Lions are covering, or I should say the Cowboys are covering and leading. Maybe that's because Goff threw an interception, and so Montgomery's not going to get the run as much, and they'll have to throw to Isaac, a whole bunch in the second half here. So perfectly correlated parlay, and I think it all makes a lot of sense.
All right. Well, that should do it for us then. I don't think there's anything else to say, unless somebody else has something that they want to contribute. But I mean, I feel like we're pretty solid here at 10-1 for a nice parlay for Thursday night football. So I want to thank everybody for watching Action Island. Also, reminder, I talked about it earlier, but join the Action Network Discord because Nick, you're going to be going live. 2-minute warning, but for halftime as well for Thursday night football. That's every primetime game. We do Bet What Happens live. You and Grant will be live tonight, and we'll be back on the island on Monday to wrap up Week 14. We got the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Philadelphia Eagles, so it should be interesting to see how those offenses play out. So, on behalf of Nick Giffen, Grant Neiffer, Sean Koerner, I'm Gilles Gallant. Thank you for watching Action Island. Aloha and bon shows.